Welcome to my presentation. Thank you so much for coming. I'd like to first start our time together with a quote. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. That is from the Declaration of Independence, which is where our lesson will end, but let's start at the beginning. So why did we come to the United States in the first place? We came for religious freedom, a chance at a new life to start over, and economic prosperity. The people who came over were not the richest and most successful of Great Britain, and they were taking a risk. Great Britain was their mother country, so to speak, which provided money, resources, trade, and protection to the colonists. England fought on the colonists' behalf in the French and Indian War and began to need taxes from the colonists to pay their debts. Then there was a debacle in Boston called the Boston Massacre. The Boston Massacre, the upset colonists from the taxes and military control, and the rhetoric used to describe these events led to unrest. They were also frustrated about the taxation without representation. After the Boston Massacre, colonists were so frustrated that they knew they had to retaliate against England and the taxes, like the tax on tea to help pay back the war debts. So they threw 342 chests filled with tea in the Boston Harbor. England next passed more laws on the colonists, including the Coercive Acts of 1774. This created even more civil unrest. Then, Thomas Paine wrote the book The Common Sense, and then the Declaration of Independence was written by Thomas Jefferson. Common Sense was a small book that was passed among the colonists to encourage the effort towards independence in the colonies. Delegates met at the First Continental Congress in 1774 and chose Jefferson to write the Declaration of Independence, which was published in 1776. After the war, many of those who served in the war were not given equal rights and opportunities that they were promised. They met to create the Articles of Confederation, a stepping stone to our nowadays Constitution. This was focused on giving power to the states and not having a strong overall and central government. They were afraid of that because of Britain, but the Articles of Confederation did not work too well. There were different laws, money, and regulations between each colony. Next, Shays' Rebellion, an iconic uprising led by farmers who felt their needs were not being met, happened. They rose up against the state's government, and politicians knew something had to change.
How did we create our government? They gathered 55 delegates, mostly lawyers and Christians, to Constitution Hall, and worked to create the Constitution. This was called the Constitutional Convention in 1787. What did we agree on? To be honest, not a lot. First, the delegates needed to decide how to best represent the population. There were two plans: the New Jersey plan, where each state got an equal amount of seats, and the Virginia plan. States with larger populations got more representation. They decided to create the Senate, 2 representatives per state, and the House of Representatives based on state populations. This was all part of the Great Compromise. Next, they had to decide on who counted towards population, and decided that slaves counted as only 3/5 of a person for population reasons. This was called the 3/5 Compromise. Next, they needed to get it ratified by 9 out of 13 states. In order to enact it, it was ratified by 11 out of 13 states with the help of the Federalist Papers by Alexander Hamilton, John Jay, and James Madison. This helped to sway those who didn't agree with the Constitution initially, who identified themselves as anti-federalists. Anti-federalists wanted states' rights over a big government, and Federalists wanted a central and large government. Luckily, they found common ground and ratified the Constitution, which also included the Bill of Rights. But how is this connected to the midterm elections? This matters because it affects our everyday life. The Constitution is the reason why so many people have the right to vote and they're not given a literacy test or have to pay poll tax. So go and vote in midterm elections because it is your right lined out in the Constitution that our founding fathers fought for. Thank you for watching Claire and I's presentation. If you wouldn't mind, go down to the bottom of this video and click the link to take the quiz. Thank you.